Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, crawling beauties, snake facts and curiosities, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Andrea Serena. I'm your host, Rob Bess. Thank you for being here with us today. Take it away, Andrea.
Hi, Rob. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Nice to be here with you again, and thank you very much. Okay, so already a beauty here in this slide, this fantastic Mexican black king snake. The good thing, the right thing, the perfect animal to start this amazing topic. So, first of all, let me present myself. I'm of course nature guide. I do this beautiful job since 2016, working in very different environment. But let's say I'm more specialized in alpine habitat, especially the Dolomitic habitat. I'm also one of the official Dolomites National Park guide, and I teach environmental education as well. And of course, happy to also be an expedition leader for NetApp since 2019. Um, in this slide, you can see myself during some trips with NetApp and also in some other photos of me at work that introduce us to today's topic, snakes. Um, so let's start. Okay. Um, Introduction. Excuse me. Few animals still have as many detractors among humans as snakes today. Uh, Despite the charm that these animals reveal, they still unfortunately remain relegated to the collective imagination, which identifies them with evil or at least with deception. Um, Attractive only to a few, they don't arouse the sympathy they deserve, and consequently, not even the protection that many species require. Their anatomical characteristics are apparently very homogeneous, elongated body, covered with scales, little head or barely distinct from the body, eyes without movable highlights, absence of limbs, and of course, a beefy tongue. In this slide, an amazing green tree python, and as well, just to give you an advice, here you can see where with NetApp you might spot one of these beauty, and the trip for you in this case will be the ultimate Australian safari. An amazing trip. In reality, many species have different morphological and uh, behavioral adaptation. Um, Snakes have, in fact, undergone important adaptive modification, achieving notable success by colonizing all terrestrial and aquatic environments, except for the ones at extreme altitudes and in polar or circumpolar areas. For sure, the largest number of species inhabits tropical and subtropical uh, environments. Um, in this slide, a beautiful Laura, and the right trip for you is another jewel, discover Amazon and Machu Picchu. A beautiful, amazing trip. Currently, just over 3,600 species of snakes, which excuse me, we can also call ophidians, are known, of which a fifth is equipped with a specialized venom delivery system. Of this fifth part, only 10% is considered potentially dangerous for humans. Um, Tormented by Western superstitions and paradoxically persecuted even in those countries where they once occupied position of respect, they are today experiencing a rapid and worrying decline in numbers. Oh, by the way, this is an amazing Bosnian viper. Um, this is caused by the huge, excessive anthropization of the territories and for the increase of the snakes killed or captured, also to supply the most recent leather goods, or as well the non-conventional pet markets, so black markets as well, furthermore, compared to other faunal groups, they are difficult to include in protection programs, and the initiatives created for conservation are limited to a few species and often poorly publicized. Um, you see here in the slide, for example, some way people used to hide snakes, uh, like on the left top, this lady carrying few snakes in these little bags for who knows how many hours and from where to there to where. Sorry. Um, let's see origin and evolution a little. Um, this is a Captorinus fossil, by the way. The first reptile fossils come from Carboniferous deposits dating back over 300 million years. From these ancient beings called Cotylosaurus came the different phyletic lines of this fascinating group of vertebrates capable then of conquering any environment and dominating the emerged lands for a very long time. Um, each species evolves in general, and a single species lasts a maximum of a few million years, after which it becomes extinct after having given rise, but only in 1% of cases, to one or more new species. So none of the species that live at that time of the dinosaurs are still present today. However, the last extant species belonging to the Rhynchocephalian order, um, with an ancient reptile family called Sphenodontis, still surviving with a small population on some islands off the coast of New Zealand, and it's the incredible Tuatara, of course, endemic of those beautiful lands. So that means we found it there and nowhere else. Tuatara, this beautiful word, is a Maori word that means spines on the back. Amazing lizard, beautiful. Um, let's see some main biological characteristics. Um, the main and most evident peculiarity of this vertebrate is the absence of uh, articulated appendages, functional, of course, for locomotion. The forelimbs and the shoulder girdle are effectively absent, although in some less evolved groups, vestiges of the hind limbs and the pelvic girdle remain. Um, snakes, like all reptiles, and due to their adaptation to subaerial life, have no skin glands, and their body is covered with skin scales. Here, another beauty, because uh, today we talk about beauties, a boa constrictor. And if you want to travel with us, I recommend you the fantastic wildlife of Brazil's Pantanal. So who knows? Maybe just after um, looking at a jaguar hunting, preying on a caiman, why not a boa constrictor uh, to admire? Huh? I make it easy, but it could happen. Beautiful animal, beautiful constrictor, an amazing snake, one of my favorite for sure. So let's see, skeletal system. Um, there are various hypotheses that will explain the absence of legs and related skeletal supports in snakes, regardless of the fact that today they are all crawling beings that live in very different environments. The aquatic one, the purely terrestrial ones, but also the underground environments, where some snakes had fossorial habits. However, it's probable that the ancestors of snakes were generally active in an epigean environment with the presence of lush and dense vegetation, where the limbs would have created an obstacle, no, to walking. So the legs will have shrunk until they disappeared, and to make movement easier, the body uh, will have thinned and got longer, with a notable increase in the number of the vertebrae. Um, then let's check teeth and venom glands. So all the ophidians, the snakes, generally have numerous teeth of the same shape, but of different sizes in relation to the diet adopted. The teeth are inserted into protrusions of the dental bones, are pointed and hooked, with the vertex facing inwards, and do not have a chewing function, but rather for capturing and containing prey. Um, the venom is produced by a gland that corresponds to what is the parotid gland in other vertebrates, like us. And these venom glands are present on each side of the head, in the region below or behind the eye, or between the eye, nostrils, and palate. Um, This is the common European viper. Beautiful, small, but really amazing. Beautiful snake. Um, let's talk about reproduction. Oh, amazing. So snakes are reproduced by internal fertilization and is achieved by insertion of the male copulatory organs into the female's cloaca, which is a very specialized organ that reptiles have in common with birds. Basically, it is the exit door of three large systems: the digestive one, the urinary one, and the reproductive. Um, Reptiles have enjoyed a considerable evolutionary success, thanks also and above all to the development of amniotic eggs, with the main characteristic of having a resistant, more or less waterproof shell. Um, in fact, these eggs are completely self-sufficient and only need oxygen from the outside. Um these help these vertebrates to completely free themselves from the water, which led them to colonize almost all the environments on the emergent lands. Until then, of course, inhabited by invertebrates and amphibians animals. um, Here a grass snake. Um, we can divide snakes into three groups, and we're still talking about reproduction. So, um, oviparous, they lay soft-shelled eggs in warm and very humid places, and in this group, for sure, we include the colubrids and pythons. Um, Here, a grass snake and a Central Africa rock python, for example. Then we have ovoviviparous snakes. Here, the female carries the eggs inside her body in the oviduct until the offsprings are fully developed. Then the little ones are born wrapped one by one in a transparent and gelatinous sac. And in this group, we find, for example, vipers, and here the European adder, uh, very common in the Alps. If you search properly, is, I wouldn't say easy, but it's kind of common to spot these little beauties. Um, if you like to have an European trip with an ETAB, the right place will be for sure the trip in Croatia and Slovenia. Wild nature of Croatia and Slovenia. Beautiful places, very nice countries, and with a huge biodiversity, especially I'm very in love with Slovenia. No, I think more than the 60%, maybe 70% of that country is covered by forest and it's purely green. So beautiful places and peaceful as well. Anyway, last one, viviparous. So regarding the internal nutrition of viviparous snakes, um, they are fed by a placenta and a yolk sac, which is very reminiscent of that of mammals. The most famous viviparous snake species is surely the boa constrictors. The causes that led to the evolution of viviparity are not yet completely clear, and various theories have been developed. In reality, a series of ecological, environmental, and biological factors unique to specific circumstances and species should be analyzed case by case, species by species. For sure, the cold climate theory was the first universally accepted. The incidence of viviparous species in relation to oviparous ones in areas characterized by a cold climate and high altitude is undeniable and widely documented. um, Genetic studies demonstrate that the recently evolved snakes that populate cold habitats are all viviparous. Um, let's change slide, sorry. The theory maintains um, that through the retention of the embryos and their development in the uterus more is more suitable regarding hygrothermal condition and guarantee a better development, which will not happen in a deposition site that is too cold, and so where the eggs may not reach maturity. The boa mentioned above is viviparous but lives in warm environment. So why that? But it's the opposite, right, of those just considered. But in this case, it is thought that viviparity was a characteristic of the boa's ancestors. So therefore, the basis of its evolutionary line. But these studies are for sure continuing and for sure very fascinating. Let's see. Now, characteristics of the mating period in almost all species are the ritual fights between males, where they often try to demonstrate their strength. In some species, for example, by pushing the opponent's head downwards to the ground. Then, before mating, the male approaches the female and runs his tongue along her body to capture her pheromones. Then, once copulation is completed, gestation begins, which varies from species to species, but usually lasts much less in small snake species. So small size, less gestation. Let's say for a small snake, a couple of months. Um, um, green whip snake, garter snake, grass snake, beautiful. Um, in many species, interesting behaviors similar to real parental care towards eggs or young are observed, which is beautiful. Among the best known cases is that of the female pythons who, after laying, wrap herself around their eggs to defend them from predators. In some species, for example, the Indian python and the jungle carpet python, the females wrap themselves around the eggs to create better thermal condition. And they do that by increasing the temperature of their body, um, contracting the muscles rhythmically. An amazing behavior. And you see here some example, beautiful. Um, the parental care developed by the female king cobras is also very well known. In this case, before laying the eggs, the female searches for a suitable and protected spot and builds a nest made mainly of dry bamboo leaves gathered in a mass with a diameter of about 30 to 40 inches and more than 3 feet tall. The females stay then on or around the nest to defend the area, and she continued to do that until the eggs hatch and the young move away from the nest. A very cute mommy. Just don't get close to that nest, but a cute mommy for sure. Uh, let's check now some sensitive organs. Um, Ancestrally, among various problems that the subaerial habitat subjected to the reptiles was that of having to sharpen the senses to identify and capture prey while moving on the ground among the tangled vegetation or inside the ground between stones or in the water. Um, Snakes with fossorial habits have vestigial visual organ or are completely devoid of them, giving their uselessness in almost dark environments. Apart from the fossorial species living underground, more in general, snake eyes are spheroidal in shape with adaptation to focus images. Characteristic is the apparent absence of movable eyelids, but in reality, the eyelids are transparent and welded together in order to prevent any obstacle from causing damage to the eyes. Um, the snakes that inhabit subaerial environments, on the other hand, enjoy good eyesight, even if some groups are less equipped than others. For example, vipers move gropingly while searching for food or a partner, and the vertical pupil reveals their original adaptation to nocturnal life. Um, Various colubrids, however, have an excellent visual ability, which allows them to follow their prey even for long distances and in environments where um, their capture is difficult. Um, a characteristic sensory organ typical of certain snakes, vipers, but also pythons and boas is a little hole on their face called pit organ, which contain a membrane that can detect infrared radiation from warm bodies. Um, and it can do that up to 3.2 feet away. At night, the pit organ allows snakes to see, let's say, an image of their predator or prey, of course, as an infrared camera does, giving them unique extra sense, uh, which is, I would say, shocking. This is truly amazing. Then, inside the oral cavity, of snakes on the internal openings of the external nostrils. A double dimple opens, which is a very important sense organ called the Jacobson organ. Um, Jacobson organ is made up of neurosensory cells capable of discriminating the odorous particles collected by the beefy tongue, and this explains the continuous extrusion of the tongue, which we can easily see is easily visible during the movement of the snake. This is a barred grass snake. Um, you can find it here in Europe, and the trip for you will be the Cotswolds, so exploring the English nature. Very nice trip where one of these beauties might be spot. Um, okay, unlike other reptiles, snakes have neither an auditory membrane, nor a middle ear, nor even a eustachian tube. Therefore, they lack those physical characteristics that we normally consider essential to receive sounds waves and translate them into noises and sounds. So, how they listen? They have nerve endings that create the direct connection between their inner ear and the jaw, allowing them to receive even minimal vibration, such as those of a possible prey that moves even at a considerable distance. Um, this system, however, is partial, as snakes can only, let's say, hear the lowest frequencies. The others do not exist for them, and therefore we can say in general that snakes are, let's say, partially deaf. Now let's check together skin and molting. Why snakes shed their skin? Because the substance of which the superficial layer of the epidermis is made, um, with an let's say, is not elastic, right? And so does not regenerate. So when snakes grow, it becomes like a tight dress, and so snakes then molt. Snakes can shed their skin once a month, especially in young specimens, with adult or old snake that shed their skin around 2 or maybe 3 times a year. Depends which species we consider. Always depends about the species. A few days before the change, these animals lose their appetite. They become irritable, um, and they try to stock up on water because by shedding their skin, they will suffer considerable dehydration. So water is very important those days. A layer of new skin forms under the old skin, and at the right moment, snakes break their outer covering at the head level and begin to push it back, rubbing against the ground. The thin casing turns inside out then, and not finding the obstacle of the legs is rejected practically entirely, like a glow. So from skin to locomotion, um, snakes have developed several ways to move. a rectilinear progression, the concertine movement, serpentine movement, and the sidewinding. Um, each method involves a different use of the ribs and the associated muscles, but also depends on the speed with which the snake moves, the weight of the animal, and the type of surface on which it moves. It's very interesting how most of the snakes are able to use different types of movement when needed. Um, let's see now some predatory activity information. So most snakes swallow their prey when most of them when it is still alive and is often struggling. No? At these moments, the possibility for the snakes to get injured is high, and therefore it is necessary for the prey to be killed or stunned before starting to swallow it. The most primitive but most widespread system is that of snakes which envelop their prey in their coils, progressively tightening until they prevent breathing. Contrary to popular belief, that does not occur through crushing but through suffocation. When the prey dies, these constrictors begin to swallow it from the head, but other species press their prey to the ground until they kill it, or when the prey is very small or helpless, it is beaten and swallowed while while still alive, and this is very common in all those little medium-sized snakes, let's say. Um, having said this, it seems that the evolutionary path has indicated the use of poison as the most convenient prey killing system, probably because the inoculation of the poison also presents a second defensive function that allows the snake to react at any time to any enemy attacks while hunting. After consuming their meal, all snakes remains numb for some time, and therefore it is necessary for them to look for sheltered places that offer temperatures and humidity suitable for continuing digestion. Is a very delicate moment. By the way, this super beauty is a spiny bush viper, and as you can see, you might spot it during an amazing ultimate gorilla safari. Um, so the trip in that case is focused on gorillas. It's not easy to spot snakes in general, and our guides are focused there in showing you the real star, the gorilla. So don't worry, no one is going to search for snakes, or you are not going to walk through snakes all the time. This is a beautiful species that it's hard to spot, but why not? It might happen, and especially for the ones that love natural photography, this will be a very special one to bring home. um, okay, um, talking about consuming the meal, yeah, this is a delicate moment for their survival. As the temperature changes, can block the metabolic process and force them to reject, to vomit, or can even kill them. So again, a very delicate moment. A tip for you while you travel around the world: um, you might spot a snake, you know, after a meal, or just doing that. Um, the after meal is probably one of the best moments for observing snakes because they are slow and indolent. So just in case, keep in mind. Let's see now quickly some thermoregulation with this amazing Western diamond rattlesnake, Grand Canyon, Bryson Zion, of course, the fantastic trip for you. So being cold-blooded, heating under the sun is vital for snakes, and sometimes hours of exposure to solar radiation are needed to reach operating temperature. But in summer, they exposed to the sun only in the coolest hours, remaining under the sun for only a few minutes to avoid overheating, which can kill them. They can't sweat. The females of the ovoviviparous species are the ones that most require daily exposure to the sun. And that's because they need to promote the development of the embryos. Now, um, from now until the end of the presentation, I would like to cheer you up with a trip around the world to discover some curiosities regarding these beautiful animals. Obviously, recommending also, as I did, destination where with NATAB you might spot these beautiful reptiles in this exciting and very unique trip NATAB does. So let's see, for example, what is the longest snake in the world? Oh, by the way, sorry, the eastern brown snake, uh, a jewel of the Australian areas. Not only the outback, but you can find it in a lot of places over there. I spotted a few beautiful snake, not to get too close to. So again, what is the longest snake in the world? The reticulated python is for sure, so excuse me, the longest snake in the world, regularly reaching over 20.5 feet in length. It is the longest of the 39 species in the family of the pythons. The longest reticulated python ever recorded was found in 1912, and it, it measured a stunning, shocking length of 32.8 feet. So that's 10 meters. Reticulated pythons live in Southeast Asia, and why they are typically found in rainforest, woodland, um, and grassland. Um, you find it more easily and always more and more into cages and in too often uh, old school zoo, I would call it. let's say, is a snake that sell a lot, talking about money. But anyway, I really wish you the luck to see one of these amazing animal into the wild, because they are just shocking. Um, what's the trip for you here? I suggest the wilds of Borneo, orangutans, and beyond. Um, amazing, amazing trip, beautiful country, and Borneo is Borneo. Okay, what about the longest venomous snake? And here, probably one of the most beautiful animal of this planet, for sure, the king cobra. 16, 17 feet long. King cobra was found in 1937 in Negeris and Bilan state on the Malay Peninsula, captured and kept at the London Zoo. It grew to um, almost 18 feet, I think, 17, 18 feet, which is a lot, a lot. Um, but this huge snake, I remember, was killed at the outbreak of the Second World War to avoid putting the public in danger, um, just in case. A shame. That was huge. I think there's a picture somewhere in the internet, but can't remember. Anyway, they are for sure the longest venomous snake in the world, and probably, I want to repeat that, one of the most beautiful. Um, these animals are found in South and Southeast Asia in a variety of habitats, including forests, mangrove swamps, and some agricultural land with remains of woodlands. They are also competent swimmers. However, they are generally uncommon in any of the areas they inhabit. It's not easy to spot them, with the exception of some areas in Thailand where there are huge numbers of them. Um, a beautiful trip, while the ancient Himalaya, Nepal, and Bhutan. For example, in the Chitwan National Park, why not to spot one of these beauty just after a rhino? Nice. And the longest sea snake, well, this beauty grow up to 9 feet. The yellow sea snake is the longest species we can find in the ocean. Um, most specimens that have been collected are less than 6 feet long. But 7, 8 feet in general. That will be a huge yellow sea snake for sure. This beauty lives in the northern Indian Ocean, and also in Southeast Asia, in other parts of Southeast Asia. Also spotted in New Caledonia and in little area in the Pacific. Beautiful snake. So now, what's the heaviest snake in the world? Of course, the green anaconda is the heaviest snake. The heaviest ever recorded was 230 kilograms in pounds. Yeah, sorry, calculation. Well, 230 more or less kilograms, a lot, at least like three fully grown men, let's say. And this massive snake was uh, 27.5 more or less feet long. A lot. while the reticulated python is longer, usually, it's also slender. The anacondas are bulky. They are huge. It's estimated that 17 feet long anaconda would weigh about the same as a 24 feet long reticulated python. To make you understand. Green anacondas are non-venomous. They are very solitary and found in South America and Trinidad. Sorry, they spend most of their life in water, usually in swamps, marshes, slow streams, and rivers. Here, a green anaconda and the Great Amazon River expedition is the trip for you to spot this beauty. Now, let's see the heaviest venomous snake now. Sorry, I'm trying to be fast now. I'm getting long. This is the Eastern Diamondback, beautiful Crotalus. This is a rattlesnake and it's thought to be the world's heaviest venomous snake with a massive body and a weight of up to 15 kilograms. It's a lot for a Crotalus. Typically, the Eastern Diamondback reaches 12, 15 pounds and 5, 6 feet long. Is found in southeastern USA, and it prefers flatwoods, coastal forest, and scrubland habitats. What's the world's most venomous snake? The king is surely the impressive inland taipan, also called the fierce snake. This beauty is found in remote areas of the southwest Queensland and northwest South Australia. Um, Very difficult to spot these snakes. In fact, to date, no men were killed by this, even if uh, a single bite from one of these beauty has enough venom to kill 100 fully grown men, but it live in such a remote areas where it's almost impossible to find it. Anyway, um, they are also very shy, um, and very rarely come into contact with people. So we can admire it only in pictures or in zoological parks and reptiles. What the largest snake ever found? We go uh, to prehistorical eras, but we have to mention this amazing animal. This was described in 2009. Is the Titanoboa, and this has long been considered the largest snake ever existed. 60, 58 million years ago in what's now Colombia. And at over 4.3 inches wide, the fossil backbones on vertebrae are huge. But by comparing them with the vertebrae of the titanoboas, I mean, here you see, no, the present day anaconda compared with the titanoboa vertebrae, and it's easy to make a comparison to understand how this was huge. And I'm talking about 42, 43 feet long animal weighing around 1.1, 1.2 tons. I mean, it's incredible. This makes Titanoboa 3 meters longer and 5 times heavier than any snake species living today. Now, quickly, sorry about that. The smallest snake in the world is this Barbados Little Beauty. It can fit on a 25-cent coin, and according to those who discover it, smaller ones cannot exist. Incredible. I mean, you die smaller than that, right? Hedges state that it is unlikely that a snake, Hedges is the one that discovered this species, sorry, states that it is unlikely that a snake smaller than this one could exist. The organs of these animals leave just enough space free for the deposition of a single egg. So smaller than this animal is just impossible. So probably no one will discover a smaller snake than this. It's amazing, it's incredible. The rarest snake, the St. Lucia racer, uh, dramatic numbers. It was once considered very common over there, but in the late 19th century, the population dropped dramatically due to the introduction of the small Asian mongooses, a human mistake once again. Now it is the rarest snake on Earth with fewer than maybe 20 individuals left in the wild. The species is endemic to St. Lucia, which is an island nation in the West Indies. It once lived all over St. Lucia, but now is only found on the islet of Maria Mayor. Uh, it was declared extinct in 1936 and then rediscovered in 1973. Then it disappeared again soon after, but 11 individuals were found in 2012 on the mongoose free island of Maria Mayor. Currently, a conservation trust is working on a captive breeding program, and we are super happy about that. The plan is to increase the world population to 500 individuals by next year, I think. Before closing, let's mention our important partner in WWF, which is on the front line for the protection of those key environments for the world's biodiversity. One of those places is certainly the Amazon, and the Amazon is home of 380 species of reptiles and mostly snakes. So WWF is working in the Amazon with government authorities, local and indigenous communities, non-governmental organization, private sector, and others to protect large parts of the Amazon and its unique biodiversity and ecological function and services. Um, okay, we have finished our crawling journey through the magical world of snakes. Here, this Indonesian pit viper. I can't even comment the beauty of this animal. If you have any question, I'm happy to try to answer you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrea. Now, before we start in with the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions in the question field in your control panel. All right, let's get to some of these questions. So, in general, how do snakes feed their babies?
Well, usually the babies are good enough to prey. The predatory activity of a recent born snake is already very good, and yeah, that's the way they are natural born killers. Let's say.
Gotcha. So, now, do adult snakes shed their skins a couple times a year because they are still growing longer or wider, or is there another reason?
Yeah, a couple of time a year, I think is the correct number. They continue to grow, but very slowly. So even a very old snake continue to grow. And it depends, and it's very important to also think that it depends on what they feed. It depends what's the prey at that in that period of their life. So if they are very well fed, if they prey properly, if their preys are good in quantity and quality, the snake continue to grow, even if very slow. So yeah, that's the reason. A couple of time a year for an adult or an old one is normality. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So, are male snake fights purely ritual and non-lethal, or do they sometimes result in death?
Um, Again, it depends. There are a bit less than 4,000 species. So lots of different biologies, lot of different behaviors, but in general, the fights are not very cruel, and it's not very common that a fight ends with the death of one of the two specimen. It's more a show, and as we said, very very common in very many species. Lot of species is this technique of trying to push the head towards the ground, but that continues for hours, and for some species even for days. So it's not about to be dangerous to each other, or to try to kill each other, but is a loss of energy that continue and continue. So at the end of those hours or those days, the snake is okay, but is really really tired, and maybe that in special occasion can lead to death, but not because the fight is as we can imagine.
Do snakes in colder climates hibernate during the winters?
Yes, yes, for sure. For example, here where I live, we can't see snakes for, let's say, starting from October till end of March. Is too cold, and talking about the metabolic system for them will be dangerous to be out, a waste of energy, and so in the temperate zone they do hibernate. Now with this climate change, we are seeing that they hibernate shorter periods, like sometimes even a couple of months less than usual. But yes, they do. Of course, not the snakes living in tropical and subtropical or arid ecosystem and environments.
Thank you for that. So, what predators are snakes watching out for? And are we worried about the number of snakes we have, or are there too few or too many?
Sorry, you mean who preys on snakes?
Correct.
Uh, Many animals prey, eat snakes. Lot of birds of prey. Uh, Foxes, mongoose, the brown bear, opossum, the lynx, the coyote, even the bullfrog can eat small snakes, even poisonous ones. So, lot of predators. So they are beautiful predator, but also beautiful prey.
Thank you for that. Are we worried about the number of snakes we have in the world and their diversity? Are there any issues with snake populations?
But we still lucky. We have a lot of species, 3,600 more or less. The problem is connected to the loss of habitats. So if things don't change, we might start quickly to lose species. Um, they, what's the problem? Lot of people, unfortunately, still believe in these Middle Ages ideas, or seeing the snake as evil and an animal. Who knows why they think they have the, the, the permission to kill. And I'm talking about, for example, vipers. Here in Europe, to spot a viper, and I'm not talking about the Alps where the number is still good, but uh, anywhere else it's almost impossible to spot a viper, and that's an animal that should be in almost all the little ecosystems in this continent, and is impossible, almost impossible to spot the common viper, not the high altitude one. Um, in general, in the planet, the situation is not that dramatic, but we are losing too much habitat, and that we're going to pay that bill, and snakes much more than us, probably soon. Let's see.
Great. Thank you for that, Andrea. Unfortunately,
Thank
that will be the last question that we do have time for today. So I'd like to hand it back to you for some closing comments.
you. Well, I have to thank again our guest. Uh, Thank you very much. I also really appreciate you are here. Um, Focus on this topic that not lot of people love. So thank you very much, and please, if you love them, maybe try to make your friends, or the other people I'm not saying to start to love them, but at least to respect them a bit more, because we need them, and they are just pure beauties. So thank you again. I see you soon, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. Now, if you're interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, please give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.